Ghost of Yotei is a sequel I didn't know I wanted. When this game was announced, I was kind of ambivalent to the news. Don't get me wrong, I think the first game is great. I think it has a really strong start, a beautiful world, and a fun story with Jen. So another game can't be a bad thing. But could they fix the repetitive structure that held down a large portion of the first game for me? The biggest disservice we can do to Ghost of Yotei is to boil it down to being just more Ghosts of Tsushima, but that is definitely what it is. You can expect a lot of similar content and similar gameplay, but every aspect of the game is just better. Exploration, combat, pacing, visuals, sound design, open world design, and in my opinion, the storytelling is even better. I expected to play this game for a handful of hours before ultimately getting bored and not finishing it. I couldn't have been more wrong. At this time, I'm nearly at 60 hours of playtime, and I'm a few checklist items away from getting the Platinum Trophy without really going out of my way to get there. Yotei provides such a fun and beautiful world to explore that I found myself ignoring the majority of the main story for almost 30 hours. I mentioned checklist items because it's hard not to see the similarities between Yotei's and Tsushima's list of activities. You're still following the wind and golden birds, searching for fox dens, hot springs, shrines, duels, and outposts to liberate. But each of these activities feel more substantial and rewarding, and at the same time, woven into the environment in a way that encourages organic discovery. They all have little things to make them stand out from the last one you found, and the rewards are usually worth it. From getting a new weapon skill or new armor to a game-changing charm or a stat buff. The exploration-based progression is very satisfying and made me want to go out of my way to see every corner of the map. The combat is an area I think they could have done more to differentiate it from the first game. I think overall it's an improvement from Tsushima, but it does feel like the weapons just replaced the different stances and not much else. It's still kind of a game of rock, paper, scissors where if an enemy is using a spear, you want to use dual katanas, or if it's a big brute, you want to use your odachi, and so on. It can be really satisfying, but at the same time kind of frustrating because you do feel punished for using a weapon that's not effective against your target. I played on hard difficulty for the whole playthrough, and I think this was the sweet spot for me. The game wasn't so hard that it was impossible, but it definitely gave me a challenge at times. A handful of bosses I spent quite a few deaths on. One optional boss in particular took me over 2 hours, but I enjoyed the challenge. I will say that the parrying mechanics never felt quite right in this game. I've played a ton of games with parry systems like Sekiro, the Soul series, Lies of P, Stellar Blade, etc. And usually I feel like I can get the hang of the parrying pretty quickly, but perfect parries are tough to execute here. I experimented with different armor combos and charms, but I would still miss a lot of parries that felt like I shouldn't. Skill issue probably, but that's just my experience. And you can adjust this parry timing based on the difficulty, and in the accessibility settings you can even adjust just that timing and keep everything the same if you want. I didn't do this, but it was always nice thinking that there was an option out there if I wanted to. I have to note that I really appreciate the loadout system, which helped with this experimenting. Being able to hot swap full loadouts of charms and armor with a few button presses was so useful. They give you 5 total, and I ended up using all 5. I had a general fighting set, a roaming exploration set with charms like Bountiful Harvest to help with material gathering, a stealthy ranged setup, a dueling set, and a cold weather loadout. I got pretty quick at changing loadouts on the fly depending on what the situation called for, but man, it would be nice if this game had armor layering or transmog. Not all armors are created equal in this game. Some of these armor skins are so sick, but they don't have the stats I want to use or didn't have a mechanic that I wanted to take advantage of, so I felt forced to wear the armor that helped me the most in any given situation. I'm hopeful they will add this in a later update, but there's been no official word yet. I've made it pretty far into the video here, hardly even talking about the beautiful setting that this game takes place in. I knew this game was going to be pretty, but I don't think I could have guessed how many times this game would leave my jaw on the floor from just how picturesque it is. The art direction truly deserves some awards for how they're able to capture so many of these moments where the camera pans up to reveal something like Mount Yotei towering over the incredible landscape. Couple this with the sound design that makes the forests, the plains, and the small villages feel alive. The music is also incredible. Do yourself a favor and play some of the shamisen songs while you're at camp. I played this on a base PS5 with performance mode turned on to increase FPS to 60 while simultaneously lowering the resolution. I can only imagine how stunning this game will be on a powerful PC. The story of Atsu is a familiar one, and you might have seen a lot of people talking about how it's just another revenge story. And to a certain extent, yeah, it is. I'm always a gameplay first, story second gamer, so to me, it's never the most important part. While this game didn't change that, I truly found myself invested in many of the big story beats. No spoilers, but the actors did a great job at bringing these characters to life and making them feel human with all their flaws and imperfections. I specifically stated in the intro that I think that the storytelling is better than Tsushima and not the story itself. I think it's subjective to say that it's an improved story, but I do think the delivery is objectively better. The way that the game basically throws you into the world without much guidance at first is something that I really appreciate. There's hardly any hand-holding, and you can experience it all at your own pace. And since this is not a direct sequel, you can enjoy this even if you didn't finish the first game or you don't remember a lot of the first game. There are some references that might go over your head, but the games are mostly independent, separate experiences. I've loved my time with this game more than I ever expected. There are a few things, like the combat, where I think they could have expanded on or changed in some ways, or the armor system being more malleable, or the grapple system allowing for more exploration. But overall, this is an exceptional game and one that I'm glad I gave a proper chance to. Paying full price for games these days seems like a lot to ask, but if you're looking for more of what made the first game special to a lot of people, this is one to consider. Thanks for watching so far. I don't do a whole lot of these long form videos. I like to be straightforward and direct in most of my videos, which makes yapping for a long time not one of my strong suits. But I have gotten a few comments asking me to do long form videos, so I thought I'd give it another chance. If this is something you would like to see more of in the future, please let me know. Thanks.